Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making a small web game using TypeScript. This series may have multiple parts, it might not, I'm not sure yet. Depends on how well it goes, I guess. So I'm going to init my project with npm init-y, just use the default package JSON, and then we need a source folder and index.ts file. Inside this I will do console.log. Hello. And inside our package.json, we need to create a start script to build this with tsc-b for build, and then tsconfig.json. And then we also need to run node src/index.js. Actually, it's dis/index.js. As when we create our tsconfig.json, and I paste this in here, the out directory where all of our files are going to be built into is this dist directory. So the way TypeScript works is you give this tsc command a config, and this is the config, and the root directory is this directory, which is where all of your ts files go. And this dist directory, which will be created when I build this, will be where all of the JS files that are created from these TS files go. So I can do npm I, and we need to install TypeScript and type/node in order to get the types for node, because TypeScript uses types, which I will explain later. And we'll probably use express, and you need to install the types for that. Some packages have types, some don't. And the types are just @types/ and then the package name. So if you need types, then you can get the types from that. Now if we run npm start, it's going to start building the project into the dist folder, and then this should run it using just regular node. You see it says hello in the console, and if we look in this dist directory, there's index.js. And since we're not doing anything too complicated, these files are pretty much the same. But if we were to create something like a function hello, and we can use types here. Say you want to say hello, and you want to say text, and you want that text to be a string. So you do colon and then the type. So there's string, there's number. If you want an array, you can do any and then the array after it. Or if you want like an array of strings, you can do this. There's a bunch of other ones you could do, like custom objects. You can look at the docs for that, or I may go over it later. And then inside this function, we're just going to do console.log text. And now, if we try and do hello with a number, let's say 10, VS Code's going to give us an error saying argument of type number is not assignable to parameter of type string, because this is a number, not a string. And if I try and run this, TypeScript is going to yell at me because I'm passing a number to an argument that's meant to be a string. See? And if I change this to a string, let's just say a string of 10, and then I start it, now you can see it logs 10 to the console. And it's pretty much the same in the JS file because TypeScript just checks it for you and then compiles it. It's giving me an error, but whatever. Okay, so now we can create an Express project. So import Express from Express, and then we can create an app, and we can also create a folder outside here called the site, and we can put files in here, say index.html, and then in here we can just actually I can change style.css and script.js. Now, this game is going to use the Canvas API in order to render things on the page. And let's call this web game. Let's say test of game. So now, inside of our source folder, we can now app.use express.static, and this is going to make the folders in this site, or the files in this site folder, public to the web, basically. Our current directory, and then out of that, just site. And then if we listen on, let's say, port 6969, because it's a funny number, and then when the app is listening, we console.log listening on 6969. And this will create a simple web server using the files in this site folder. Let's give it a little bit, and it will now say listening on 6969, and if I reload this, it now says test game. And you can do other things. You could do like app.get/api/test, and then res, and then this is the request. So this is the request, and this is the response. So we can just do res.send, and okay. So this will send okay when you go to the /api/test. So the URL for this is localhost/6969, but you can do localhost/api/test, and it now says OK on the page. So now we can actually get to working on the game. So we now need a canvas element. We just do width equals 500 and height equals 500. And then let's give it an ID, game. So now we can get the canvas. So now that is the game canvas, and then we can get the game canvas context by using canvas.getContext. And we're getting the 2D context. So now we can do something like ctx dot, I think it's ctx dot draw line from 10 to 10. It's not line. I don't remember any of the Canvas API shit. Hey, Editing Meow here. You can watch and enjoy my dumbass looking up how to use the Canvas API because I didn't remember how to do it because I haven't used it in a while. So, enjoy. And actually, if we want to use TypeScript for this, we could create a new file called script.ts, and then this will be our main script. And we can delete this, and we can keep this as script.js, and inside here, instead of this, we can just do /script.js, and we can do res.sendFile, do your name, plus, and then script.js, and then this will send a TypeScript file, which is this file here, to the server. So we can just do something like alert hello. Restart this. And if you're on Windows, you probably need to press Control-C twice to exit the program, because Windows is weird like that. Go to root, and there we go, it says hello. And now we can do something like this. Let canvas equals document.getElement by ID, and then the ID is game. And if we're using TypeScript, we can also make this a certain type. So we can do as, and then HTML canvas element, and now TypeScript knows this canvas value is going to be a canvas element. So this, because this document.getElement by ID game, the element with ID game is this, which is a canvas element. So now TypeScript knows that this is a canvas. And then we can do let context equals canvas.getContext and 2D. So now we have the 2D context of the canvas. Now we can forget everything we know. So now we can do something like ctx.fill rect, from X to Y, or at the X and Y positions. We can just do 10, 10, and then we'll give it a width of 50 and a height of 50. And in order for this rectangle to actually show up, we need to do ctx.fill_style. So the fill style is the color that you want. I will do black because the canvas background would be white. And now I can restart this, and when we go on to the actual page, it should show up as a rectangle. Canvas is null. Canvas should not be null. Actually, this needs to be defer. You need to defer the script so that it waits until the page loads in order to start. Because the script is trying to find a canvas element, but actually this shouldn't even be there. This should be at the bottom of the page. The script should always be at the bottom of the page so that when it tries to access elements like this one, it's not loading before the element's actually on the page. And now we see we have a nice rectangle on the screen. And if we wanted to get the width of the canvas, we could do width equals canvas.width. And we can do let h equals canvas.height. Now we have the canvas width and height. And if we want to put something underneath this rectangle, we can do ctx.fill_style equals, and let's say, red. And then we can do ctx.fillRect from 0 at 0, 0 with the width of the canvas and the height of the canvas. So now this should make a red background on your canvas. Now we have a red background on the canvas. And we can actually do some quick styling here. Set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 on the body, and then we can do game width 100 of the virtual width and height 100 of the virtual height. And we can also do position absolute and set the top to 0 and the left to 0, so that it's always in the top corner of the page and extends down. And let's set this position to relative so that the game actually moves. And then we can set the width of the canvas here. So we can do canvas.width equals window.width, and we're going to do inner width. And then canvas.height equals window.innerHeight. So now this will resize the canvas to be the size of the window. Now the canvas is the entire size of the window, so you can give it like a nice background. Do this. You can use VS Code's little color picker thing to find a color. Just give it like some grass-ish color. Something not incredibly weird, but yeah, that works. And then we can set the background color here. Now if we reload the page, now we got this kind of greenish grass color on the background. So we can actually, instead of fill style, or instead of a fill rectangle, we can use ctx.arc. And we can set it still at 10, 10. And we can set the radius to, let's say, 15. And then the start angle is going to be 0, and the end angle is going to be math.pi times 2, as this uses radians and not degrees, if I recall correctly. Pretty sure it uses radians and not degrees. So this should create a circle of black instead of a square as your player sort of character. Okay, we're not. Okay, I messed this up. Actually, I'm going to do ctx.fill in order to fill the arc in. If we reload now, there is a circle there. Okay, so we can actually wrap this all in a function, like function update canvas. Actually, I'm going to do function draw. And inside this function, we can do all of this, and in the beginning, we want to clear the canvas. So we can do ctx.clearRect and clear it from 0, 0 to width and height. And inside this draw function, we can do window.requestAnimationFrame, draw, and we can also do draw at the beginning of the page. So now, we actually just do this in a second, it's probably more efficient. So request animation frame makes it so that each frame or each render frame of the web page will load your draw function. So it won't be laggy and it'll update as soon as it can, basically. So now if we do this, it's the same thing. And if we want, let's say we want the circle to follow your cursor. So we can do let cursor pause equals x, and we'll make that default 0, and y default 0, and then we can change this so it's cursor pause dot x and cursor pause dot y. And now down here, window dot add event listener to listen for when your mouse moves. So mouse move, and then we can use the event, and cursor pause dot x equals e dot, and it's page x, and cursor pause dot y equals e dot page y. So now whenever you move your mouse, it's going to set the corresponding value of the cursor position to wherever your cursor is, and then when it draws, it's going to draw a circle where your cursor, where it knows your cursor is from this mouse move. And now this will follow your cursor. It's a little messed up because I don't think we're not clearing the rectangle properly. Okay, well I got it partially working because close path needed to be added so that it stops trying to close the circle path. Now it is a little laggy, and that's because the rendering of the page doesn't go that fast, so it doesn't go as fast as you're moving your mouse. So you can see how often it would update your canvas. My PC is probably dying right now, so it's going to be a little laggy. Well, I figured it out. It's all with this begin path and close path because of the arc. The arc acts weird, so you need to add begin path here so it actually begins drawing the arc. And now we have a circle that follows your cursor. And we can also make it do different things. So we can do like clicking equals, and then clicking equals false. And we can use, I forget what this is called, I just call it the question mark operator. It's clicking, and if you are clicking, it's going to make it a different colors. We do, and that would be red, or just black by default. And now we can add an event listener, window.add event listener, mouse down, meaning when you start clicking, and we can do clicking equals strip, and Control-C, Control-V, changes to mouse up, which would be when you move your mouse when you stop clicking, and change that to false. And now when we start this and we click, the character will now turn red. You see that when we click, the character turns red. Now this is going to be it for the video today, as this is already getting kind of long and I don't do videos that much really at all. So I may do more in the future, I may not do more in the future. It really depends on how well I'm able to make a game, I guess. I mean, whatever. Also, I forgot to mention in the video, this is on GitHub, and you can view all of the code on GitHub. In order to actually get it running on GitHub, you just need to run npm start. So you need to run npm I in order to install the packages, and then you can just run npm start, and it will start the project.